Everyone, Jamie Pate here. Welcome to this video. I am here to share 3 fresh ideas using the Terracotta Collection. Are you ready? Because I am. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone, to this channel and to part 2 of the Terracotta Collection and a continuation of what we started last week with a bit of an unboxing. I'll have that unboxing video linked below in the comments, in the description. I guess we should call that instead. So if you missed it, be sure to check that out. I have a couple of things to say in there. It was sort of a twofer. There are 2 parts to that. Part 1. I know we got a lot of parts going on here. Let's pull all our parts together, shall we? The second segment, if you will, in that video is talking about this extra large storage organizer and how I am working this collection into these spaces. And I talked about, I need this piece for what we're going to work on here. And I talked about these sorters and these stackers and these trays and how this goes on here. So that's a full-blown conversation in that video, which, as I've already stated, is going to be linked in the description. Be sure and check that out. You can watch it before or after, but you don't want to miss what I have to share with you today. In that previous video, there's also a little chatter about getting acquainted with a collection or a kit, which I sort of use those 2 terms interchangeably. What I have done is created for me a kit from this Terracotta Collection that I picked up from ScrapbookCom, and it's by 49 and Market. In that video, I unpack what I actually purchased. I don't purchase all the pieces. I'm learning about myself and my making style, and I'm learning what I'm actually going to use. And I think that's so important. We're going to invest our time. We're going to invest our energy. We're going to invest our money in products because of the love of making, the love of giving, the love of memory, or however we're using these papery projects. We might as well know and understand what we really love about something. So I talk about that in that video as well. So to get started, I have pulled some of those favorite things out to create what I'm going to call an interactive journal slide. I have an idea for something. I've kind of done it before, kind of not done it before, as is with all things, right? So let's get started on making that right now. What I have here are some supplies that I'm going to use for this little journal interactive piece. This is from the ephemera. I think this is a great space to add our journaling. I'm a fan of the frames. I got the frames. I shared those. This is a laser cut butterfly. I have that whole entire package. This is also from the ephemera. It's just a little tiny label. The sentiment is from the laser pieces. I have a piece of 6x8 paper. Very often I like the smaller patterns in the 6x8. Plus there's 3 per pack. So that's going to go really far. And this is just pretty background. That's all this is, because, can we have a moment of silence? I don't even know how to say this, but I know it has something to do with butterflies. I'm a fan. Continue to be a fan. The other things a couple other things I'm going to need for this little easy project. I think this is easy. Let's see if it's easy. I think it's easy. I think you're going to have fun with this. We are going to need the 1/8 inch foam adhesive strips. These are our friends for these interactive things. And square, this is the 1mm square foam dots. And a piece of acetate. This is also ScrapbookCom acetate. They come in 5x6 sheets. And then just your regular other kind of, I've got some scissors over here in case I need that, which I probably will. I'm actually going to need a trimmer for this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to utilize this as my guide for the journal element. I'm going to also need some room to add it to the frame here, which I think I'm going to go in this direction. Basically, I want my paper, my backer paper. This is going to be my background. The striped is the background. I need it to be basically, wow, James, slow down. Basically be as wide as this frame. I don't want it to show, but I need something for the 1/8 inch foam to hang on to. So that's that. The other thing I'm going to be mindful of here is the journal piece is going to not fit all the way into this frame. Obviously, the frame is smaller than it, right? So I'm thinking, I'm going to have to make a couple of adjustments on here, but let's see what our height is here that we're playing with so far. It is, yep, 4 inches. 4 inches is good. So we're going to trim this out to our marks here. So it's going to be 4 inches tall. I'm going to go ahead and cut this whole thing at the 4-inch mark because this piece of paper is 8 inches tall. So now I just have a nice piece of solid piece of scrap paper for whatever my next project is going to be. I'm going to trim this down where I marked it with the frame. Make sure I have the right piece here. Nope, it's this one. There we go. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is add a piece of acetate to our frame. So for this, I'm going to use I didn't add this with our supplies earlier, but I want to use the dot roller. And I've decided this is how my frame is going to sit. I'm going to flip this over. I'm just going to add adhesive to 3 sides. Okay. And that way the adhesive needs to get into play first. So I'm just going to pop this on here. It's kind of probably hard to see on the screen, but I'm just lining this up as straight as I possibly can. And then trimming off all the excess acetate. I don't need any sticking over my frame at all. So it's just going to be on this square middle part. That is where I prefer this to be. And so I will save these acetate scraps for another day. Now at this point, this needs to get popped onto our background paper. Just like that. And because I need it actually popped up, I'm still having a little bit of excess acetate showing up here. Okay, and because I need that popped up, I'm going to utilize the 1/8 inch foam strips. If you are a frequent friend here on the channel, I am utilizing these foam strips quite a bit. I'm super grateful to have this as a crafting supply. I use it quite a bit. And what I'm doing here is placing the strip as far over on the outside edge as is possible. I don't want it to be seen on the front. I have a little sliver here over on the other side. So just, if this is what you were, if you're following along at home, then make sure you're paying attention to both sides of this, but not letting it come over. Go ahead and pull off the backer strips, just like so. And now we can pop it to our, basically our it's almost a 3x4 backer paper here. Background paper, that's what I want to say. Okay. And so you can see we still have this space here at top, and we don't really need to do any adjusting. Actually, if we're going to do anything, I think what I'm going to do is just trim this down just a little bit more. As I look at that in there, I think I'm going to prefer this to be a layer like that. And can I come back in here with my corner rounder? Because if I can, I should have done this before, but I didn't see it until it came together. So yes, I can get this back in there. I'm just going to round those corners. I think I like that look better. Do yourself a favor if you are wanting to make one of your own and do this before. But you know, sometimes you just don't know where you're going to go with an idea. I'm having an extra hard time putting this one in. Okay, I had to give this one a little bit of help. Do yourself a favor. Do that before you adhere it in place. There's too much bulk to get in there. Okay, but I think I am a fan of that little bit of contrast going on there. I use this hole punch, this hole reinforcer punch to punch out from scrap paper this hole enforcer. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here to it, and it's going to be right here in the middle. So now here I'm going to bring back in the elements that we had hanging out before. I think I had this sweet flower as well. And we're going to pop these onto the cover. So this is the interactive part, right? Because this looks like you're going to kind of, this is going to tuck into here, but we get to pull it out. And we still have all these lovely pieces here. I'm deciding to utilize the 1mm square on the back of these. So I'm just going to get these pieces into place now. So this will go right here. I like this floral piece to be put in here first. I'm going to layer everything else on there. And then by having that with some twine in it, it'll be super easy to pull out. Then I'm going to take the label. I'm going to go ahead and add the foam adhesive 2 places in the back of it. It's going to tuck in under here a little bit. Next up is the sentiment. Just repeating the process. These foam pieces are definitely my friends when we're adding layers. But this time we're just adding a layer to the top of the acetate, right? Just as though it's a regular piece of paper. And then we're going to get the butterfly in place. I'm going to use the strip for this because I just want the very middle back of the butterfly piece, this laser cut element, to have adhesive on it. Whoops, there we go. And this is just going to stick right here. So some clustering going on, not a whole lot. You could add more if you wanted to, if this is something you're going to choose to make yourself. All right, and using the hole punch, we're going to then create the rest of the hole in our journal spot. Grabbing our twine, you can use baker's twine or you could use ribbon, whatever. You could even not add a reinforced hole and just put maybe a flag element on it that pulls in and out. I don't know why I got so much twine, but I certainly did. I don't suggest that much, so I'm going to have to trim that down. I just got a little crazy. And then this is your interactive part that just slips in there like that. Super cute as a card, super cute on a layout, and if you want to add your journaling to that, that's one of our 3 ideas for you. Okay, this next make is being called a rub-on tag. Guys, we're going to pull out the rub-ons and have a little bit of fun with that. So I have a distress tag here, heavyweight. Just have a bunch of them. I just need to use them. I grabbed a little ticket from the Laser Cuts. Aged Mahogany is going to be our friend with this collection. I have an ink blending brush, tiny attacher, some ribbon, not sure what I'm using yet, and some background paper, because I'm kind of thinking of stacking this tag. So those are the pieces that I'm going to use. To start, we're going to add the Aged Mahogany to the edges of this. This is the fun part about these collections too, is that you don't have to use the pattern paper. If you if you're a hoarder of the pattern paper, then you can just kind of make some of your own tags, right? And you've seen me do this before. I'm just adding color to the edges mostly. I think this Aged Mahogany is number 1, it's a fantastic color. And number 2, it is beautiful with the terracotta. I know mahogany, terracotta, but it works. It just works. We're going to make it work. I'm actually going to add a little bit more color to the tag reinforcer at the top here. We're going to keep this like the title, I think the title of this is called 3 Easy Ideas, and so we're just going to kind of keep this easy and just kind of sort of, for the most part, stick with the rub-ons for this. Anyway, that's my goal. That's our goal. Let's see how this plays out. Stay tuned. Can She Do It is the name of this segment. So what I like to do is decide on some edges. And for that, I'm actually going to go ahead and cut into this top. It's sort of like this graph and paint splotch sort of situation here. And the thing with this is that we're going to get a little bit extra mileage out of it because we're going to cut it in half. And we will use one of these pieces at the top left corner and another piece at the bottom right. So this would go up here, this would go down there. The next thing I'm going to do for our tag is add some script. Lots of ways we could add script. We could stamp it in. 49 Market and Sizzix has some great script stamps, and now I kind of wish I would have pulled them out because that would have been fantastic. But there's some lovely script on here as well, and we are going to then put that to work here. Again, a little bit up here and a little bit down in the corner. So if you are a fan of the rub-ons, but you also sort of feel this hoarding situation that takes place because it's a thing. It's rub-on fear. Come on, let's just admit it. We're going to join a chapter. We're afraid to make a mistake with our rub-ons. And I get that. I think if we have maybe a little bit of formula in mind, which I'm trying to share with you today, because I want you to use your rub-ons. If you're investing in something like this, or you have a stash of rub-ons that you're not using, you know who you are. I want you to use them because they're just so fantastic. Okay, I got to take some time here because this little guy wants to... Sometimes I think when I do these over the ink, they want to be a little extra tricky. I have no problem with the rub-ons going over the ink, but they just maybe don't go on quite as smooth as when maybe there is no ink. And I'm always a fan of how great it works. So create a pattern for yourself. My pattern is, and you've heard this before, if you are on this channel at any length, I like to come up here in this corner. I like to come down here in this corner. All right, the last one I'm going to do is this little swatch. I've become a huge fan of these swatch situations. It's like a little paint palette here that is part of the rub-ons. On this right side here, I'm just adding just a touch of this, and I'm rubbing over. I have a piece of the rub-on backer material here so that I don't, again, lose it to the, what do I want to say? So I don't get it on this background paper. I'm sorry. So I don't get it on the workspace. Let's see if that came up. So just a lot of ways you can use and manipulate your rub-ons. You don't have to use the entire surface of it, and that's how that is going to play in our background here. Okay, so basically, just like I said, we're now fussy cutting this out, and one trick I will tell you for sure right now when we're fussy cutting is that I move what I'm cutting, not what I'm cutting with. So I'm moving my vellum, my butterfly covered vellum is what's actually getting moved. And that's one of my best tricks for fussy cutting. And that's what that looks like. Just add the adhesive foam right to the back middle of it, and then this is what we have so far. All right, I shared in part 1 of this video the different aspects, the different features to this particular rub-on. The Terracotta Swatch Color Swatch Collection has one set of rub-ons. These come with some pretty good, very useful sentiments. I'm going to use a label from the Ephemera and pop Family Memories right in the best to my ability, right in the middle of this. Okay, the other thing I haven't added here though is my ticket. I wanted to add this ticket in. I think I'm actually going to just give that a little crease. Yeah, that's better. I just creased that on my trim and scoreboard over here. That's kind of off to the side. I'm going to pop that in here. Do I want it to show on both sides? No, I think I just want it right there. So I'm going to staple that on. I like that look a lot. And then give ourselves a bow on this. This is great for a gift tag. But even though it says Family Memories, just depends on how you add the sentiments in, right? I already have this in mind for a layout. I've had a lot of family memories lately, and I want this to be part of that. So that is just one way of using the rub-ons, and I hope that's a great idea for you. I hope it's something you'll utilize. Let's move these ribbons out of the way because they do not match. And let me show you one more idea next. For this last element, it's a shadow box cluster. That's my fancy name for it. And I gotta tell you, can we just camp on this extra large storage organizer just for a minute? I am finding this to be such a great solution when I'm really focused on a collection / kit to really cull the things and make them accessible. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about it. We're going to move on because here I'm going to use one of the terracotta frames to create a bit of a shadow box, if you will. I am outlining the frame on this piece of 6x8 paper and just going to cut that out. That is all that's happening right here. And again, kind of like the first piece that we did in this video, just want to make sure that the frame fits right on top of it and nothing is showing out from underneath. The 1/8 inch foam adhesive strips are our friend. And of course, let's not forget the beautiful possibility of creating a shaker box. Doing this right here, except with the acetate. And I didn't include that in here, but I definitely am thinking about it quite a bit because it's just a fun little make. It's a great tag. Gift tag? Okay, I'm getting off track here. Let's focus on our shadow box embellish cluster here, shall we? So that is made. And at this point, we're just going to layer in the elements. Decided to take this extra large ticket and I ripped it in half. And it's going to just kind of play against each other inside of here, sort of inside of here. It's going to also overlay there on that right edge. I'm going to tuck that other one underneath it. It kind of came together real quick. I just liked how they kind of just played against each other. I don't know if I've done this before, but it's a pretty good sized ticket in this ephemera. I think they call them stacking pieces, but I ripped it in half and stacked it. So there you go. Trying to decide on what size label I want here. The labels almost always are going to be homes for my sentiment strips. So you can see how that's coming together. I'm pretty happy with it so far. I could have also ripped the label tag in half as well. That was an option too. It was longer, but I could have just shortened it. So, and the acetate pieces are coming in here. I think I decided that one's way too big and I use this smaller one instead. And take the opportunity to trim these babies out however you need them to. I was much happier that the way that fit in there. Then I have this laser cut piece, and if it just doesn't fly everywhere, I think it takes me a little bit to figure this out. So stay tuned for that because I'm going to go ahead and add a little piece of the double-sided foam adhesive and put it in such a way that you can't see it, which is underneath that label there. And I think then I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I have this. Oh, we still have that leaf piece. Of course she's going to use it because of the layers. It's just a great way to layer without it looking too terribly layered, right? Because it's got that whole acetate see-through thing going on. I love it. I love those pieces so much. I'm glad that I've discovered them and decided that they do kind of need to be part of my collections when I do order them. I'm making better use of them. Of course, seeing them. I find I'm grabbing for them pretty often, actually. Okay, so I think I'm flitting around here trying to figure out how this piece is going to fit in here. Sort of kind of my way. And now we have it. There we go. It is good. And she said it was good, and it's not good. Here at the very end, I finally got it exactly where I want it to be. So no, don't worry about fuddling around. It's a good thing. It's not a bad habit to be in at all. I'm going to fuddle around now with this die cut piece. Because I wanted to use it. I wanted to kind of fill that in. I didn't like how empty the back of this was. So sometimes just set things aside, right? Now the butterfly, it needs to find a home. And it's going to. But then what does she do? She switches back to the sentiment. Because I knew for sure where the sentiment was going to go. Sometimes it's a real good idea. Work with what you know. If you're wanting to add some other elements in, that's fantastic and great. You might not feel comfortable where it's going in yet. Well, then take a minute and go ahead and layer in those elements that you are feeling good about and that you know where they're going to go. I knew where all these other pieces were going to go. And then the butterfly came like, oh, I'm not really so sure where it's going to go. And it's not as though there's any wrong or right way for it to go on this embellished piece. It's up to us. It's our interpretation. It's where we think it should fit. I hope you know that, and I hope you practice that. So I'm getting that butterfly into place. I'm going to wrap it up here with getting the other floral piece, or maybe, oh, now I take that back. I think I went back. Oh, that's right. I took some flowers and I trimmed up some flowers and bent them, and I just kind of tucked them in here and there. That was a much better move. And it was so easy just to grab them out of my little storage container. But this is about the make. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these 3 ways with terracotta.